trust other than just going out and doing it.
I like the message that sends, but I didn't enjoy watching it.
Yeah, I think that's... So for me, there were certain things... A lot of people that really liked it, criticizing the people that didn't like it, that I've observed seem to be really, like, kind of missing the point. I think there's a certain mood that a film that's made a certain way will make you feel, and if you just didn't like it because of the way, like Adam was saying, the jarring nature of going from something you love to something you hate again and again and again could result in a feeling of just not wanting to do it. I don't want this bipolar relationship
Actually,
with the movie.
That's really created apathy.
I mean, I walked away from it going like, man, that movie was really, really cool. I just wish I could figure out why they did some of the things that they did. And then people were coming out of the theater going, I loved it. And people were coming out of the theater going, I hated it. And I was like, I totally understand both of you. Like, I totally get it. I was totally
this is involving a very established IP, established in everybody's mind, in different ways in people's mind, established in the culture. And I totally agree that Ryan took risks that he did not take. There has failures, ultimately. And I think that's just as far as JJ took very few risks.
75 meters,
took
right.
some small ones, but really they aren't like he really didn't play with it. In fact, he needed to not take risks.
So he abandons his risk as soon as you're for example, there's a part where Kylo Ren at the end says, which I got excited about. He goes, no more rebels, no more First Order, no Jedi, no Sith, we're done. And rule the galaxy. Like, what the fuck? Like, he was going on this thing of like, he should have just broke the saber in half and threw it away. But instead he said, but on the one hand, that's what Adam's saying. You have to be setting it up where saying like
75 meters, right.
Everyone's in the middle. All are you is like, I was waiting for you to say, you know what? This world of water, I'm gonna live here. I'm out, I'm done with this. You tell yourself around. But then immediately Jordan and his father and son will roll against him. You just completely did a 180 mid-sentence.
I think that's
what happened.
I think that's part of my problem with the movie is it feels like it's at odds with itself.
Yeah.
It's like it does do those types of things where you're like, oh, this is really cool, but then it falls back into a filmic trope of bad guys versus good guys. It shows you the gray, but then it ultimately decides for you that one is bad and one is good because Kylo's a bad guy.
That's inherent to the Force too, because it's light and dark. There's no golden hour in the Force.
I'm glad you said that because it's inherent to humanity.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what it got to me where like I knew it's funny because I knew when Kylo was saying, oh, get rid of all this stuff, we need to start over, and I was like, I know exactly what he's going to say, which is I want to rule the galaxy. And the fact of the matter is that everybody has their own motivations for doing things. Benicio del Toro had money. He wanted to, like Kylo wanted to rule the galaxy. So, and Luke wanted to help his friends. And that is just that's just the basis of humanity. No one's ever going to say, I will only do what is good for the whole of humanity, because that's not true. That's not what happens.
Yeah, I just think I understand it being pretty jarring because you're watching it. And you're like,
Oh,
I'm getting a
absolutely.
new, unique perspective somewhere within the spectrum. Nope,
Yeah.
he's all the way on the
Gone.
the other side.
The thing is that unique perspective also at times can contradict both some of the rules that make Star Wars hang together and also philosophically what the show is about. Like you guys saying, it's a very good versus evil show. Heroes are heroes, villains are villains, and there's very little in the middle. And that also relates to the dual nature of the Force. And also, I think, starts to touch on some of the religious overtones of the show. 600 meters north. I could be wrong about this, but just anecdotally, I don't remember them calling the Sith or the Jedi a religion ever since A New Hope. They did very harshly in this movie. And there's also one particular arc that really sticks out, like, in my mind. They ran into Benicio del Toro's character in jail. And it's like, it's one of those fated happenings that happens because of the Force, right? You're down on your luck, but the Force, always to achieve balance, or because the good guys have to win, is going to make you bounce into someone at the right time in the right place. Like Ben finding Luke when he's about to get killed by Tusken Raiders or whatever. And you're like, oh, the guy who's going to save the day has been arrived, and he'll win us all with his roguish charm. And he just turns out to be an opportunist, and he sells the rebels all out and ends up way worse.
I actually like that.
I like that too, but then it's like, why is he sitting there in a jail cell for no reason? Usually the excuse is that the Force is going to deliver them.
It's worse too because there's a negative point. finish your thought.
To have an arc that means that much in Star Wars, not guided by anything, is extremely bizarre for people that are used to narrative dictation driving the entire plot. Because it implies the Force isn't there. Maybe it never was. So what does that mean about the future of Star Wars?
But then you're dictating that the Force can be that it has to be in control of the entire planet?
That's what it's always in control at critical moments. And this time, the Force either didn't care enough and a lot of innocent people got killed, or are even innocent anymore because they're terrorists. Who knows? So it's starting to, like you guys are all saying, it's muddling up what is essentially usually a very neat narrative that has just a little fuzz thrown in for you to wonder about the beauty of the galaxy. But now you're like, well, wait a minute, dude. Some asshole sells you and will die terrible deaths.
I think just coincidentally being in a prison cell with them, I think it's just the nature of storytelling. Like any other movie, the heroes are looking for this, and coincidentally they fall into this cell and they find the guy that they're looking for. But I do agree with you, it is a broken piece of storytelling. It is like lazy development. I mean, just like the way they lazily killed off Admiral Akbar.
Yeah, I know.
Unceremoniously.
I think that's the thing about it. There are rules is not the right word, but there's certain conditions that Star Wars itself has set up. There's a lot of Star Wars movies, right? There's a lot of Star Wars movies, and unlike say James Bond, which reboots itself in its universe over and over again, so that way it can change the rules. Like Star Wars is literally saying, remember that thing that's from way back then? This is the same world that's from that thing. So it's harder to reteach the audience new rules along the way, especially after a movie that is a straight-up remake of another movie with all those rules perfectly in place. I'm glad that it's happening. To be clear, I'm glad that they're taking risks and they're muddling it up, but it's gonna be jarring for the audience, and I feel like the movie did not make itself, sounds bad, but basic enough to slide in those rules. So the movie had certain elements that seemed like straight-up movie things, straight-up Star Wars things, where before they went to the casino planet, they got on a call with Maz Kanata, who is now Rocket Raccoon blasting around.
Actually, that was a nod to the Rocketeer. I looked it up.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
And it's funny because I
that's
messaged AJ and he was like, "Oh yeah, I knew that."
That's fine that Ryan Johnson likes the Rocketeer and turned a character to the Rocketeer. Sure. But like, she sets up this character. This is a film thing. You foreshadow, you set up the character, you build it up, and then they don't deliver on that. They give you something else in its place, and it's jarring. It's not wrong, but it's jarring.
I told you guys. Sorry.
No, I would say that like, for all the again, I actually not again, but to make it clear, I actually enjoyed it.
You're allowed to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I actually, Adam, I thought it was
the
a good
petition
film.
would say otherwise.
It's fine. I get
Sometimes try
And so,
to
I just want to make sure people understand that's the perspective coming from. But the shot of the real cracker, like the code cracker.
Yeah, Eurotrash.
Yeah, I was like, where is he
Eurotrash
going with this?
Was completely took me out of the movie for a moment. I went, what? What just happened? What just happened?
The problem too
is he important?
I'm not a fucking screenwriter, okay? Disney doesn't want me, trust me. They don't want me to help them. But even there, I was sitting there, I was like, waiting for the moment where Benicio del Toro says that he lost his thing in a match.
Right.
There's so many points it feels like in this movie where it's like there's a band-aid. You can just slap a thing on and it'll fix it, and it'll make it less jarring. It's a bridge between
And
those
maybe
those
in the
things.
original 3-hour cut they had those.
Maybe it
band-aids.
is.
That's what I was
Yeah.
about to say.
Once again,
You know?
I
because
think
they did
something
cut
that-
an hour from it.
Yeah, I think that was a noticeable, like, I think editing screwed this over.
Editing is not good in this movie because in this perfect example is Leia's Space Leia, right? Sure. That's a moment that's destroyed by the editing. I think
Again, I like that movie.
I have no problems with the moment.
People really don't like that movie.
I have no
because it
problems with the
raises
moment.
questions that don't get answered.
Why
so
was
many
Admiral
things.
Akbar
I
killed
don't-
off in such an unimportant
Listen,
way?
it's not
But see, I don't
crazy
care
to
about Akbar.
assume. It's not crazy to assume that this force that does all kinds of shit, like this is what I love about Star Wars. We were watching all the prequels this weekend because they were running a marathon, and the way it treats the Force and what Jedi's can do in that movie is bonkers. It's total bonkers. So I'm totally fine with Leia blasting off into space, but then coming back using the power that she has, but can only tap into in a life or death scenario or whatever. Like it's like an old woman being able to lift up a car to get her Haagen-Dazs ice cream, right? Like it's that.
That story goes, but okay.
I have no problems with it at all. What's jarring is the fact that it cuts away. She gets blasted into space.
Oh, I see.
It's a really powerful moment, and then it cuts away to the other two stories that it's juggling.
Yeah,
for the
you're
rest
right.
of the movie
It could be.
for a questionable amount of time, and then returns you to it. So you're basically going like, so she's dead or she's not. Either she's dead, and they completely washed over how important that is to the film, or I already know she's not dead, and so when she comes back, it won't be impactful. Back, and then she slowly wakes up, and then she flies back into the thing. If they had a big moment where it cut to her, and you're like, oh, fucking shit, and Kylo's looking out the thing, and he sees her going out, and now he's wrestling with it, and you hang on that scene. Hold that tension, but not too long, where it breaks, and then she twitches, and then she comes back, and you're like, oh, fuck, Leia's got fucking... Like, I think more people would be jazzed about it, as opposed to, like, oh my god, did you see what? And now look at this.
Yeah.
And let me tell you about this
Yeah.
thing, and then go, all right, no, let's
Okay, so counter argument, practical Yoda.
Oh
I
yeah.
love practical
Yeah.
Yoda. Are you kidding me?
Practical Yoda.
Give me practical.
I thought Yoda was probably.
I'm just totally deterring you.
Yoda was one of the best parts of the
Frank
movie.
Oz
Yes,
doing it.
absolutely.
It's
The-
well written. It's a good part. My only issue with that is, once again, it's the movie constantly betraying itself. Where Luke goes, I'm going to do it. I'm going to burn it. I'm done. And then Yoda burns and goes, what are you doing? You're burning the sacred
Well,
text.
he
Like,
didn't really want
Yeah,
to.
but Luke hesitated before he did it.
Also,
So obviously he wasn't
then he
committed.
shouldn't have lit the fire.
Also another
Well,
thing
I
I
mean,
would say,
come on.
more ammunition to that point though, Adam, is that Yoda didn't do anything. The implication is that Yoda says, you didn't need these books, Luke, except that Rey has already taken the books.
Yeah.
So
Ray took the book.
They're
yeah,
at
the,
the-
books,
they were-
the
there's a
books
shot
are
of
on the
Falcon.
Millennium Falcon at the
I
end of the
didn't catch
movie.
that.
So it's basically like Yoda said, you don't need these books.
Yoda
Also, I know
very-
they're safe.
was gonna say,
you know.
Yoda
Yoda very
already
much
knew.
summons that lightning bolt.
if you
No,
wanna-
I'm saying he does,
He meant-
but he
he
doesn't
meant
destroy the book.
metaphorically.
He knew the
Gotcha.
books were gone.
And
He
if
knew
you
the books were
want to
gone.
talk about
Okay.
bullshit hesitation, the movie, I feel like it tricked the audience when it's like, oh, Kylo's hesitating to blow up Leia, when he didn't demonstrate an ounce of hesitation for the rest of it. In fact, there was a payoff about, no, he wasn't conflicted at all the whole time. I thought that was supreme bullshit thinking back on it.
What?
So when Kylo's in his fighter and he's
Yeah.
about to blow up the cockpit of the capital ship,
Yeah.
and he hesitates because he
Yeah.
knows his mom's on board. But he, for the rest of the movie, Rey, and they do that, so Rey's like, I've seen conflict in you or whatever. And then when he sees his chance to take over and kill everyone, he takes it immediately. So there, I thought the
But I
movie
mean-
was
That
trying
was
to
his
say.
journey. That was his journey.
I would also say
Yeah.
the
But then why did he hesitate to shoot his mom when he
Well,
already killed his
because that
dad?
was the point.
I mean,
It was the point to justify a plot loop that was already written closed later in the movie.
I would say that you could
Yeah,
say
but
that
that's
was a
like
breaking
character
point.
That's
like,
what I saw.
the whole reason he's so adamant is because I feel like he's like, well, my mom's. There's literally nothing else tying me
Yeah.
to the good in this. He thinks his mom is dead for the rest of the movie.
I
right?
think there's.
Sure,
I think
sure.
there is even like a twist in him upon killing Snoke that then almost like an adrenaline boost of just like.
He's like, oh shit, I can do this.
Yeah.
It's just like, and then I don't know. It's weird stuff where like that moment with killing Snoke is awesome. Like that whole sequence,
great,
everything
yeah.
in that
Yeah,
throne
it's
room is
super cool.
fucking
So
great.
good.
But then at the end, you're like,
What did that?
but then I was like, but what was he?
Yeah.
I have no idea what he was.
So it's really interesting. You guys all said. Everybody said the same thing to me.
Well, Fareed had a great point.
what's
Sorry,
Fareed?
no, go ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead.
wait,
You speak for
Speak
free.
for free.
Yeah, please.
No,
go ahead.
please. I want to know you. Sorry.
Well, I was just gonna. I mean, for me, I was just gonna say, this guy's been killing people for years.
Kylo Ren
He-
or Snoke?
Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
He slaughtered kids
Yeah.
in the Jedi Temple. So for me, immediately when he was like, I'm gonna kill, and then we're gonna join forces, I was like, I know exactly what he's gonna do because he's a murderer. So I know he's going to continue on that path of being a murderer. And even if he hadn't, there's no way all the rebels would have been like, you know what, you're forgiven.
And I think that's, but I think
He's not
that's,
Magneto.
I think that lends to the jarring nature of the film for a lot of
Absolutely.
people because it's saying it's like he's conflicted, he's a shade of gray, and you're like, no, he's a mass
not.
murderer.
Yeah, he's a murderer.
Like, so which is it?
So was Darth Vader.
Let me tell this.
600
Reed,
meters
who
north.
knows, I think
Enemy
understands
spotted.
Star Wars
Soldier.
better than
600
the common
meters
man.
north.
If Ryan Johnson is selling this narrative,
Reed, if you want a mic, you can get up.
no, I will tell it on your behalf, Fareed.
Speak on behalf of the Fareed.
If
You just
Ryan
stand there
Johnson,
and make sure she gets it
is he
right.
there?
Yeah.
Oh, you tell him what you said about it.
What did I say?
Oh, wait,
Oh,
so you're
boy.
talking about
Jeez.
Snow.
All right,
Come
okay,
on,
we
freak.
gotta
What
make
would
this
she-
efficient.
Momentum.
What
You're
would
killing
she
it, just like
care-
Last Jedi.
What would she care about?
What are we doing?
Oh yeah, so like imagine if the film was everything that the fan fiction was saying for the last couple of years. Oh, she's a descendant of Obi-Wan. Everyone, yeah, I knew it.
You
Oh,
don't have to do the
Snoke is
voices,
actually
it's
Plagueis.
okay.
Oh, I knew it. Oh, Finn is force sensitive. Oh, I knew it.
Yeah.
You know, I knew it.
But it's more about okay.
Oh,
go ahead.
he-
If you're
yeah,
not finished,
do your
dude,
whole thing.
But
thought you
I
were just doing the
think
voice.
you know the whole Yoda just showing up, which was cool, and it was puppet Yoda, so the little fan lore. It was
I remember he goes-
not
he goes like
CGI Yoda.
I know.
Yeah, and he calls him Luke in it, which was pretty cool. I think it was and Yoda blowing up the tree.
Well,
I
you
think
said,
You're losing focus.
you
for
said to
Reed.
me
what's
about
happening? He's just saying
she's
things.
no one.
yeah,
So
she's.
what would she care to know?
Yeah. Oh, okay. You're Darth Plagueis the Wise. So what?
What does that mean
Okay,
to
what
her?
does that mean
To
to
Rey?
her?
Okay, you have two options. You got the fan spum theory, which is Darth Plagueis, and everyone's go, who's Darth Plagueis? Like, oh well, if you read the lore,
You have to explain it, right?
and then you have the polar opposite end, which is Last Jedi, which is like, who gives a fuck? He's dead.
The story of Darth Plagueis appears in the new trilogies.
Pardon?
What?
And I
Darth
think the other
Plagueis.
thing was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't have to read any. You
No,
know
but
it.
I
Oh, I see
sure
what you're saying.
he's
It's in
mentioned.
Revenge of the
They
Sith.
said-
but
they
it's
said
He's
it.
mentioned
yes.
briefly once in Revenge
Yeah,
of the Sith,
so
but
you get Darth
the
Plagueis.
the question that lingers, everyone goes, who is this shadowy man we saw in Force Awakens? I hope we get to see more of him. Oh, we do, so much more. He's so powerful. He can.
Did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
No, I thought not.